It's usually a day when all of us suffer from acute nostalgia, as we remember how this imperfect great man impacted all our lives. My grandfather was a terrifying man, I must admit. He demanded order and structure in impossible proportions. He was like all African grandfathers, I presume. Tall, silver-haired, deep voice, and well-built. So he terrified us. He loved African music so much. I grew up listening to Salma Pakala. For the old people in the room, you know who I'm talking about. Pepe Kale and Miriam Makeba's Aluta Continua was one of his favorite. Because he believed one thing: the struggle, no matter what it is, must continue. He did not desire to be liked. He found nothing special about familiarity. So he set strict boundaries. So do I today. Despite my grandfather's hard-as-nails persona, an oracle woman, my grandmother was the keeper of his heart. She lived in intricate color, complete with soft melanin glazed skin, and she had an infectious smile, a very deceptive smile. She defied odds. She was an anchor, a shield, a weapon if you needed one. She was a safe haven if you wanted someone to cry. She was a well of wisdom, and most importantly, clarity. She spoke in capital letters. And for those of us who know how Nigerians speak capital letters, that was my grandmother. Yes. The first lesson I ever learned from this amazing woman was never be ashamed. She was not ashamed to be seen, to be heard, to be visible. So the first lesson was, be unashamable. Because only when you are, as a woman, you're undeniably unstoppable. When my mother now got pregnant with me, it was such a failure, being that first, she was a firstborn. And she wasn't wed to this young man who got her pregnant. So in the African context, this is very simple. My grandmother wasn't shaken by this. The shame that would have clouded my mother was taken away by her. She stood and fought and won. Lesson 2, only when we fight together, we'll win together. Our family seemed great from the outside. We never lacked anything. We didn't know what lacking anything meant. Everybody had something going. And the one thing in our family that was great was how progressive it was perceived. Every woman in my family worked, and there were a lot of women. There was some kind of work that we did. And this is one thing that I also learned, that for us to be able to create more mentors, we have to emulate and make the work of women visible for those women who will seek to be like them. So this was our pursuit. Despite how good my grandmother was at her work, however, she couldn't go past the secretarial position. Neither did my mother, neither did her sisters. Because apparently, there was this invisible ceiling, a block, something that we are not supposed to go over as women. Because going beyond and above that means you're seeking negativity, you're seeking to show off, you're seeking to be great. Why? I found it difficult to understand because as a child, I played with a lot of male siblings. I actually don't even have a sister. So I'm constantly getting sisters in the world everywhere I go and pick sisters. So I was like, what is happening? How come nobody understands this? In my games with my male siblings, one of the things that we loved to do was compete around who will climb on top of the tree the fastest, within the shortest time, and get to the very top. I won, of course, almost all the time, because as you can see, I'm very tall, so long legs helped. They were lazy too. But I won. What that meant to me when I was up there was how beautiful the view was. Because the higher you go, the breathtaking the view was, especially on top of that tree. Because the wind blew on your face, and it felt good. And the branches swayed, and you felt free. You felt like you were flying. So I wondered, why wouldn't anybody want another person to feel like this? To get on top of the tree, to feel the wind, to close their eyes, and imagine flying. I was shocked, I was mad. women in my family stagnated. I witnessed conformity entrench itself and solidify an already visible frustration. The cracks in our imperfect family became evident with the sudden death of my grandmother, which meant, and remember, she was a shield, she protected. So without her being there, there's no shield. So all the women were pushed into this unspoken suppression. Lesson 4, be cautious, because blood does not necessarily mean blood. Very important. My mother and her sisters were eventually cut off from any involvement in family issues. Relatives took everything they could, what they believed they were owed. And there was a helplessness that creeped upon all of us. And people were watching. To my amazement, people were spectating in silence as our family was shredded to nothingness. And there was nothing we could do. We all watched. I remember all of us being bundled in this one room home or house. And that house, something that was beautiful about it, was how during the day, there's like sun rays coming in because the roof has holes. So as a kid, you're enjoying it, you're like, we have sun rays in the house. But then when it rained, you know how when you watch Game of Thrones and there is the Night Watchers or the White Walkers and the Army of the Dead? So in that house, we were the Army of the Rain. We were the Rain Watchers. Everybody had their duty. The moment it started to drip, tuck, someone was on bucket duty, catch that. Tuck, cup duty, get that. Tuck, spoon duty, if that helped, catch that. Or help, even if your mouth could help, catch that rain. Because that house was going to flood terribly, and sleeping was going to be impossible. All this time, my grandfather, whom I'd always been very close to, and despite the fact that relatives had come and interfered with our relationship, he found a way to keep me close to him. He would make sure every evening when he's from work, he would call me and say, read the newspaper for me. I hated him, seriously, I wouldn't even lie. Because there's so many things about reading the newspaper. As a young person, as an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, you don't understand a lot of the language. You don't understand a lot of the things you're reading. And then remember, at the end of it, after you've read it, there's questions and answers. So when I'm reading this, I'm anticipating questions. And then at the same time, he was questioning me. How are my daughters doing? Because remember, they were sent away. How are you guys doing? And I hated this because we were starving. I didn't want to say that. Because we were struggling. I didn't want to say that. Because we were having rain. We were rain watchers, remember? I didn't want to say that. Then again, leave all that. The one thing that upset me the most is that I was missing precious playing time. Playing time is important. And my type of play was hide and seek for food. And I love food. Because we would play, and my brothers would hide, and if I found them, which was more often than not, we would agree, I'll pretend I haven't found you. And then in the evening, when mom gives you a snack, your snack is mine. So imagine how many snacks I would have had that evening, that I was not here missing. All this happening, my mother, as strict as she is, encouraged me to speak up in school and at home, because she feared that the lack of ability to speak for yourself that had crippled them was going to come over me. And she wanted me to never forget how to speak for myself, because I was growing up around boys, assertive people, aggressive people. So she said, speak up, ask questions. And her favorite question was, why? Lesson 5, no one is born knowing how to speak. You learn it over time and over practice. We are all born not knowing. I was an inquisitive child because of that. And you know how children are supposed to be seen and not heard? So you can imagine I wasn't liked. Because I was constantly the child. Why is that? Why are we doing this? Why is that? Many a times, my mother would attend sessions in my school. And there was this one particular session that she attended. And during this session, she asked, why are you quiet when you notice something? Speak. So I once asked, why is it they're all political My mother, however, in the corner was chuckling away because she knew that is the lesson I've been trying to pass. So she was proud. In high school, and if you've gone to Kenyan high schools, you struggle with your diet, you struggle when you're sick, because it's a little prison. It's like a mini preparation for when you go to jail. So when and my love for food, and that's a deep love, it's a passionate love. When my love for food came, and I questioned, but why is it that we are being served stale meat that has a patent order, and nobody was responding? I started boycotting. I had no idea what boycotting was, but I was boycotting. After the boycott, very many students joined in and said, by the way, we could get better meat. After that, we actually got better meat. In the evening, instead of us doing what brought us to school, which was read, we were in a corner, plotting how to boycott everything else, how to plan, how to get away with other things, everything we needed to change. That was us. Something else about high schools and Kenyan high schools is when someone's sick, you're told, oh, and being that I went to a Catholic school. So you can imagine when you're sick and all of us are being given paracetamol. It would be your diarrhea paracetamol, heartburn paracetamol, malaria paracetamol. We agree, right? Yeah. We've all suffered. Worse still, on my school or in my school, we would also pray. Because falling sick meant you fall out with God. Eh? You have fallen out with God somewhere. That's why you're falling sick in the first place. So we are praying. So you can imagine, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you. And then you run to the toilet, you do your business, come back. Hail Mary, full of grace, and then paracetamol. This wasn't going to sit well with me. Me who had found this benevolent revolt spirit, who had changed meat, who do they think they are? When I fell sick and I was taken through Hail Mary and paracetamol, I walked out of school, terrified as hell. But in my gut, I knew this was right. Lesson 7. Never ever doubt. Do the right thing. You don't need permission. If it is right, do it. So I get home, my mother is furious. How could they do this? How could they not take you to hospital? What is happening? What is all this? And you know what? When I went back to school, all other students who were sick were threatening to leave, just the same way I left. And then they said, no, we're going to allow you guys to get proper treatment. We're going to allow you to go home if you're sick. So something was happening, change was happening. I didn't even know, but it was there. University, public universities, Kenya. I went to public university. Lecturers come, they give you a whole list, they walk away. You see them during examinations, they walk away, and then you don't see the results. So I walked into the dean's office, me who has no idea who the dean is, by the way. I walk in and I say, so this lecturer hasn't showed up for lectures. And they look at me, who is this child? How do we save you from this revolt? What is happening? But you know something funny? This guy never missed any lecture. And he would come and say, you who reported me, are you learning? Don't go and say this and that about me again. So for the first time in my life, I enjoyed speaking. I enjoyed making people uncomfortable. Because the stifling helplessness that had crept in when we had lost dignity was beginning to die. So I've been speaking since then. Because I realized that in silence, the only thing that resides is injustice. That in silence, the only thing that prospers is more injustice. That it's a betrayal of self to not speak up in a world that is full of injustice. I have handled many cases and been in many public demonstrations, by the way, with lip gloss and makeup. I'm there running tear gas, but I'm there. That's it. I've handled many cases. And because of this, I decided to make myself a certified public noisemaker. That becomes my official title. So everywhere I go, I would introduce myself. What do you do? I'm a certified public noisemaker. And you? And people look at me, what is wrong with this? I decided to make activism my life. Because real life is activism. And activism is I fight to occupy spaces important for new narratives of social justice. I fight to open doors for women. I fight to keep the doors we've opened open. I fight to end gender-based violence. I fight to end a rape culture that has for centuries fueled sexual violations. I fight for the visibility of women. I fight for the acknowledgement of women's pain and the right to exhale. I fight for the women in my life, in their honor. My question to all of you is, who is your life honoring? Do we still claim honor when women are continually taught silence in the midst of loud injustice? When people are structurally left behind unemployment lines? When police brutality is normalized through gendered violence targeting men? When malignant capitalism cements class divisions, creating acceptable disposability, invisibility, and subjugation of poor people? What is your life honoring? Who is your life honoring? As long as we all live as humans, seeking humanity in an unjust world, we should all